Consistent play for us. We're up and down. We put a couple games together, and then we don't adhere to what wins in the National Football League and what it wins for us. And at the end of the day, you get what you deserve. So with that, we just had our final team meeting. Players are involved right now with their exit meetings with their position coaches. I'll talk to as many guys as I can this afternoon. Tomorrow morning, our coaches go into meetings, and we'll go through scheme evaluations and player evaluations, and start getting ready for our off-season. Questions?
Joe, this is the first time you guys have been done this early in a while. I guess it's got to be kind of a weird feeling.
It's not good. It's not good. I think anybody that coaches at this level or plays at this level, you live to be invited to a single elimination tournament. I don't think nothing gets you going like that does. This time of the season, coaches get bone tired, players are tired, but when you wake up the morning of a playoff week to start your preparation, there's a second wind that's unbelievable, and we're used to experiencing that around here. We haven't done it this year, and that has not left a taste of our core players in their mouths. There's still that burning desire to get back, and we'll prepare for a great off season.
On a personal note for you, was the season more taxing than some of the others because you had a larger role on this team?
I had 7 weeks off. I don't feel like Thanksgiving's come yet. No, it has not.
When you go back and look at what happened and got you to this point, what are some of the things that you see, maybe key points that got you to 7-9 out of the playoffs?
I think this, and I've said this to you guys before, every year takes on a life of itself, and the keys to a team's success change on a yearly basis. This year for us, it was the ability to run the ball, stop the run, and then third down conversions. And when we did those two things, we played pretty good football. Then you group into that the ability to protect the quarterback, pressure the opposing quarterback, and then big plays. Those have been the things that when we have adhered to those things, we've been competitive, we've been able to win. And when we break those laws, we lose games. And there's been the inconsistent play of adhering to those things, and I didn't do a good enough job of getting the point across, but off the top of my head, that's what I would say they were.
How long do you feel like or how long do you anticipate that you're going to have to serve this interim role? I mean, I know when Sean comes back, but throughout the offseason, that sort of thing until he gets back?
Until he gets back. This is his team. As
Yeah.
soon as he walks through that front door. We good?
As far as the way the season went, I mean, I've got to ask you this because the season's over.
You don't have to.
You've told me that before, I know.
Don't feel compelled.
What the NFL did to this team, I mean, is it fair to say that it affected what happened on the field?
Listen, you can make those excuses. And I think that you could bring our core players up here, and you can bring our coaches up here, and there's a million excuses for losing. Now, it is what it is. Was it a challenge? It was a challenge. But that's not an excuse for letting the ball go over your head. It's not an excuse for missing tackles. It's not an excuse for getting lined up properly. It's not an excuse for, protecting the quarterback. It's all those things. And at the end of the day, who's to say that there's not a catastrophic something happens to this team next year going into the off season? Listen, tomorrow's not guaranteed to anybody. So we're not going to use that as an excuse. We are what we are right now. We're 7-9 because of the things that we did between the white lines, and that is what it is.
On the defensive side of the ball, I know you say you're going to evaluate players and stuff tomorrow, but you talk about some of the brighter spots and some of the players that stepped up throughout the season. I know you said Raphael Bush, Hicks, guys like that.
Listen, I thought our corner play got better all year long. I thought Jabari and Patrick really came on. I think Curtis Lofton's really had a good year. I think Vilma, once he got into the swing of things and got his legs back under him, he was kind of going through a training camp mode in the 6th or 7th game of the season. He really came on. So I think there's some guys that I think Cam Jordan had an outstanding year. I think there's some guys that really have a good foundation to build off of what they did this season.
Is it based on the yardage allowed, Joe? Do you think it's a big upgrade on, I'm looking for the right term, extreme makeover on defense, or do you think it's a something a little less?
Listen, I think this. You know, everybody knows the amount of yards that came really in the first 6 weeks of this season. The linebacker core is in a state of flux with injuries. The defensive line was not settled down yet. The corners were learning a new system. I think once these guys got ingrained now, hey, listen, we didn't play our best game yesterday, I understand that. But I think once they got ingrained into the system, the terminology, the alignments, the checks, all those things, people here saw an improvement on a weekly basis. Up until the time 2 weeks ago, we pitched a shutout against Tampa Bay. And really, we played good football against the Dallas Cowboys with 4 minutes left in the game. We're up 14 points, and hey, listen, we let 2 balls go over our head, which is inexcusable. But all you want to do as a coach is get your players and your unit better on a weekly basis. And when you can do that and you see the improvement, I think that's the positive. That's the positive. So, extreme makeover, geez, I don't know about that. You know, I really don't. But that's why we're in the evaluation process now. We'll see, make sure we're putting the right players in the right position to make plays, and we're matching the proper calls with personnel groupings, and do a hard evaluation of ourselves. That's only fair.
We hadn't talked about him probably in a while.
Who's that?
But Chris Chamberlain. I mean, how is he in his?
Really good.
I know you're gonna.
Yeah.
You probably look forward to.
Yeah, really
seeing him
good.
next
You know,
year.
he's. I don't know if you guys have seen him out there in the early part of practice, but he's running now, and I would say he's probably about 3/4. And as we speak right now, he's going to be healthy to start in the OTAs and start in the latter part of the off-season conditioning program, but be full speed in that. He's really had a good off-season. You know, it's an exciting prospect to have with us.
Talked on defense about some of the guys that stepped up. What about Joe Morgan and the eventual return of Nick Toon next year too? How is he?
Yeah, you know, Nick had his dad here this weekend, Altoon, and listen, Nick comes from great pedigree. He's running well now. We're excited about the return of him. Joe Morgan, I mean, can blow the top off of a coverage, and I think one of the hidden things about Joe is his ability to block. He's played a lot of snaps for us this year, which is going to serve him well when he comes back next year. We know this about him: he can catch the ball in a crowd. The game's not too big for him, and he gets better every day. So, and he can run. He can run. So, I think Toon and Joe Morgan are really 2 guys that we're excited about, that are part of our football team and can help us.
What Vilma had to go through this season, I mean, I know you know him very well. I mean, how much do you feel like it took a toll out of him? Because he said it was draining yesterday, and you know, season wrapped up, and probably had his best game yesterday.
I think you're probably better off asking him that. You know, my relationship with Jonathan is, you know, hey, listen, I love him to death. I got great respect for him. But I need to tell you, it's something that we just didn't talk about on a daily basis. I mean, he'd tell me what time I had to show up for the trial, and I'd show up for the trial, and then we were back on to football, you know. I think he did a marvelous job of handling all that stuff. He's the consummate pro. Through all the turmoil, he exhibited great leadership in the locker room, especially to our younger guys. And but I think, you know, you're probably better off asking him that.
When you go into the off season and try to evaluate, I guess, how to not have this happen next year, is it more about your team, or do you guys look at the teams in the playoffs and go, okay, look, they're a run-oriented team and they get better on defense?
That'll come into the self-scout part of the off-season. We'll evaluate schemes and trends in the National Football League, new blitzes. That probably, you know, our off-season schedule now probably doesn't come around until May. But listen, we're always looking to, you know, do scheme evaluations of other teams and what we can do to upgrade our schemes. But right now, it's our scheme evaluation. And now we're evaluating our players, you know, right after that, and then we're getting ready for the bowl games, the Senior Bowl and East-West Shrine game. Then it's on to the Combine. Then we're getting ready for the draft. So that's later on in the spring we do that.
Joe, how realistic is the level that this organization has performed at the 3 years previous? Is it realistic to get back to that level as early as next season?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why we wake up every morning and come to work here. I mean, hey, the standards are high, and the goals are high, and the expectancy level is high. And there's not a player or coach or anybody that works in our building that's going to sleep easy tonight on 7 and 9. It's going to be it's a great motivational tool for the off season. But no, that's what this organization's about. It's what these players, these core players that we have here, is all about.
Joe, you've often talked about the character of this team, you know, coming through what you all did. When you returned, you told us how difficult it was with your time away. With the season being over, do you take away a different perspective or something about this team, whether it's the coaches or the players, that maybe you know, you didn't see through them before, but having gone through the year, you have a different
Listen,
perspective.
I'll share this with you. Like I said, we just had our last team meeting, and they're having exit meetings right now with their position coaches. And the last thing I told this team was I loved them, and I have more respect for them now than I've ever had. I've got more respect for this coaching staff right now than I've ever had. And hey, listen, they're my friends. You know, I've worked with these guys every day for the last 7 years. You know, we can sit and whine and sit here in self-pity and talk about coulda, shoulda, woulda, or we can try to get this thing behind us as soon as we can and move on to the business of getting better. And that's what our players want to do. That's what our coaches want to do. That's what Sean would demand. And so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to take a hard look at what we're doing and how we're doing it and get better at what we're doing. But I have more respect now for these group of players and these coaches and our organization than I ever have.
Joe,
I'm proud to be a part of it.
if you wanted to consider any kind of extreme...
Why is he walking towards me like this?
I didn't want to yell. If you did want to consider extreme changes, is it too hard to do that without knowing what Sean Payton wants to do? Like, what if you wanted to switch from a 4-3 to a 3-4 or anything like that? Are your hands kind of tied from
No,
doing that?
no, not at all. When Sean comes back here, the first thing he'll do is he'll look at the film and study the film, and he'll dictate what direction we're going to go into schematically, offensively, defensively, and procure the talent we need to do that, and then move forward.
Isn't this the time of year when a lot of those decisions need to be made?
Not really. I don't think so. I think the time of the year comes when you're moving towards the combine and you see exactly what the influx of talent's going to be, who's available in the free agent market, and then doing your own scheme evaluation. So those things, you know, coming out of the combine is when you make those determinations.
What about the coaching staff? Will you have any input on that, or will that be it?
That's Sean and Mickey all the way.
Well, in the meantime, if someone wanted to interview an assistant coach, would it be your call to say, okay, you
No,
have permission?
it's Mickey's call.
Okay.
You expect Sean back right after the Super Bowl?
That's what I've been led to expect. Yeah, you know, I think midnight of the Super Bowl. So he'd be back here at 12:01, I would assume.
Will you be here at 12:01 with him?
Probably. Probably. I don't have a life. We good, guys?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.